So thank you so much. Such a pleasure and delight to be here with you. And thank you again for the Knight Foundation, for Miami-Dade College, the Idea Center, for Tel Aviv University, and for AJC for putting together this amazing, exciting event. So just one word, I'm also an alumna of Tel Aviv University. Tel Aviv University is celebrating 60 years old this year. And it's the youngest university in Israel. However, we're #1 in Israel and #9 in the world in the number of entrepreneurs emerging out of the university. I'm delighted to acknowledge my very dear colleague over there, Norman Lipoff, who was a named shareholder on our firm and a philanthropic, very much involved in supporting Israeli causes, and a board member of Friends of Tel Aviv University. And we actually also have here, I would love to promote that, because this is our little baby, my co-chair, Itai Benosh, and myself have entrepreneurship on tap. This is a great opportunity for alumni from Tel Aviv University to meet here with the community and introduce successful the stage and the road to success and share it with the local community here. So we would love to have all of you join us in future meetings. So I am here today to introduce 3 exciting companies that represent the growth phase of Israeli companies. And I would like to try and unlock the secret for the Israeli companies' growth success. Some may call it chutzpah. Who is familiar with this word chutzpah? So, you may call it being relentless. You may call it not taking no for an answer, getting in from the window when the door is locked. It can be passion, being passionate and really believing in what you have and in the greater cause of what you have to deliver. So we will start with Ofer Familier. Is the Director of Business Development with Vayyar Imaging. And we will have a little interview. Wonderful. So, Ofer, thank you so much. And thank you for coming with this amazing delegation of Israeli companies.
Thank you.
So let's start by you introducing your company. Who is Vayyar Imaging and what is your value proposition?
First of all, thank you very much. I know after lunch everyone must be tired, so we'll try to keep the energy level afloat. So Vayyar Imaging, we basically developed a technology that is able to penetrate through different materials and create a 3D image of what's inside. It's based on RF imaging technology. It's a unique chip that we have developed, including a full system behind it. Basically works on the principle of transmitting radio frequency waves from many, many antennas and receiving them in others. Someone is familiar with the term phased array radar, so this is a phased array radar on chip. And this is basically something that we take to many verticals and many different applications. We were founded in 2011, raised $34 million so far in 2 rounds. Investors are mostly US-based VCs. Basically, I would say that the first application we started working on, still a very strategic, but a long-term one, is a new modality for breast cancer screening. So if you take mammography machines today, this is radiating, it's an ionizing technology, it's X-ray based, it's a very painful test. You need experts to operate it, and digital mammography costs about $200,000. We today have a prototype that we're now testing in trials in Israel that is handheld already, will sit at the nurse's office. The woman just places it, holds it with one hand, places it on the breast, and in less than 5 seconds you get an image, and it's non-ionizing, non-painful, and it will cost lower than $10,000, right? So this is a kind of a really disruptive concept where we started, and then we took it to many, many other types of applications that I'm sure we'll start talking as part of the growth elements.
Yeah, because Your solution is very interesting and is very different than a typical company who starts with one solution, one product. You have a number of verticals that you're currently active in. Can you please elaborate on those?
Sure, yeah. So even though this was really the first one, but very soon we realized, okay, what we actually have here is the capability to look into materials at a very low cost, low size, low power solution. So today we're working with very big companies on solutions for in-wall imaging, basically mapping all the pipes and wires and water leaks, termites nest, whatever behind the wall, homeland security, monitoring location of people during a fire, seeing through the smoke and things like that, identifying if an elderly person fell down in the shower, agriculture solutions. So we really operate in many different verticals where the model is that we would partner typically with kind of very strong players, number one, number two player in each of these markets, and co-develop the product with him that he then takes to market.
So you mentioned the partnership with leading partners and in the different verticals that you operate in. The big question is, how do you get to those partners? We at Greenberg Traurig, the way we've been developing the Israel practice for the firm, which has been so successful that resulted in an opening of an office in Tel Aviv 3 years ago. But the way we've done it, we've reached out to amazing companies like, for example, a company like Ofer's, and we help the companies in creating strategic partnerships with our clients base and facilitating those introductions. So consultants, accounting firms, lawyers, that's one avenue, but there's so many other avenues to reach out to partners. So I'm curious to hear about how did you do it?
Yeah, so there are different approaches of how we do it, right? We would start typically by kind of prioritizing the markets, identifying potential partners and these sort of things. Then in order to actually get the lead, get a contact to the people, there are a few channels we're leveraging. First and by far the most effective is your personal network, yours, the companies, etc. From a lot of experience there, if our CEO is best friends with the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, the lead time to get a deal done is probably 4 or 5 times lower than in other cases. So your own personal network, and then you start leveraging also your investors and kind of your first network around it, which we do quite a lot. And fortunately, we have incredible investors that are also very well connected, and they help us open doors, etc. After that, I think, and this is probably also a good kind of a good tip for Miami in general, is for us the Israeli hub is unbelievably effective in this sense. It starts from the fact that probably all the big kind of consumer electronics mobile companies in the world have kind of scouting offices in Israel, so they would have Israeli representatives constantly looking for innovation, and they would host very senior people that are coming. Second, we are very, very active and well connected within the VCP world within Israel. So every time there's a delegate of senior people, we would typically also come to present to them, which is incredibly helpful. For me, I was shocked. So before joining the company, I lived in London for several years. I used to work for McKinsey, and I was pretty shocked to get back to Israel and to see the amount of incredibly senior people from the biggest company in the world that just come by, every week to meet startups. This is, you can't grasp it, right? And it's not, sending kind of the number 10 BD in your team that comes to give a report. It's the CTO, CEO, coming directly, spending 1-2 weeks in Israel just to meet these companies because they want to bring innovation to their companies. So this is incredibly helpful. I guess after that there's so I never underestimate just pure cold calling. I heard the intro about the Israeli chutzpah. I guess that's a part of it. Some incredibly useful partnerships we had started with me just sending a LinkedIn message or just picking up the phone and calling the CTO of kind of one of the Fortune 500 companies and just explaining about the technology. And lastly is the PR. I think once you kind of hit a scale that you're ready to start really building your inbound channels, then a good PR agency with good kind of press outcomes, this is very, very helpful.
Wonderful. So in Israeli terms, you're a great success. You have 40 employees, you have more dozens of subcontractors, you've raised to date about over $30 million, and you're in the growth. But you know, in US terms, you're a small company with huge impact, but you're a small company. So how, you know, you negotiate with giants. You're David against Goliath, right? And being a giant, you usually, you know, the one with the money is the one who set the terms, and sometimes something that companies, technology companies especially, should be careful of is getting put on the shelf, buying your technology in order to put it away so you won't be any competition. What's your leverage? How do you deal with those partners that you work with?
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. So yeah, we've had that, right? We've experienced that. Some companies that it seemed to go great, they were incredibly interested, and then they kind of told us, sorry, but it's been delayed at our legal for the last 2 quarters. We're trying to push them. But I think that there's no kind of secret sauce, right? It's a bit of kind of an art, but you need to kind of make sure that some things that you do would put you in a good position for that. First of all, I would say is to never ever fall in love with a deal. This is something incredibly helpful. Even, you know, with our first customers, very, very big deals, when suddenly it seemed that the terms are not right, this is not kind of the vision we had for the company. This would not put us in a path to success, in the path that we want to follow. Then we would, you know, very politely turn down. So this, I think, is important. Second element is make sure from all legal perspective you're covered, right? So you have kind of minimum volumes per year, and there are different elements of how you get them, how you get the partner to pay and basically start investing. If they want to put you on the shelf, they'll try to delay any payment as much as they can. And lastly is about never operate in a vacuum. Even if you know that there is one partner and this is my perfect partner and I would love to work with him and he's amazing, but always have the 2-3 options that you can kind of switch between pretty quickly, and in a gentle way also make everyone realize that you're there. So I think these are things that are helpful, but it's not 100%. You sometimes do get these sort of things.
Excellent. We have many more questions, but our time is up. So one last question. Your solution is super scalable. You have many future verticals you're working on right now, and you also have your own product. Can you just very briefly elaborate on that?
Yeah. So basically what started happening is that pretty early on when we started expanding, we saw that many small companies or many even bigger companies start coming up with ideas that are not too big or not kind of worth it for us as a company, you know, to put our very, very precious R&D resources on. And we knew that we couldn't support it. And as these things started to pile, we realized, okay, there are just a lot of these, and it's a shame that this is literally money and opportunities we're leaving on the table. So what we've done is we said, okay, let's just launch a consumer product for companies, makers, SMBs, entrepreneurs to just take them, give them the capabilities that we provide, and let them start building products and introducing them to market. So we recently launched, it's under a brand called Wallabot that we recently launched to market. Developing a community around it. People are posting their ideas. It's pretty cool. There's a very big maker fair over the weekend in the Bay Area, and that's where I'm heading now. So yeah, it's great.
Wow, truly amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.